On today's show, should Kawhi Leonard play in the Olympics? There's some discussion going on about that. Will he be replaced? The latest update on today's Locked On Off-Season Clippers. Yeah.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA and just finished my 19th season as a Clipper fan. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more NBA and LA sports and sports content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. And I want you to let me know how you feel about Kawhi Leonard playing in the Olympics after all that's occurred this season. Let's get right into the topic. And before we do that, this episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is the best place to get great deals on last-minute tickets for any event. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. All right. So this episode I've dedicated to Kawhi Leonard and him playing in the Olympics. And a couple months ago, we heard that Kawhi was chosen as the final roster spot. Now, before we get into that discussion, let's just talk about what the Olympic team wants to accomplish this time around. They didn't have the greatest showing in Tokyo. They lost a game against France, or we lost a game against France in the group stage. Ended up winning the whole thing. But that was a shaky enough performance for USA to say, like, look, we got to get the big boys. We want to be, have the best American team, because there's a lot of conversation about how the world's catching up. You look at Embiid, you look at Jokic, you look at Giannis. A lot of these recent MVPs have been foreigners. A lot of the foreign, Luka Doncic, same thing. So the roster for the USA right now is Bam Adebayo, Devin Booker, Steph, AD, KD, Ant-Man, Tyrese Halliburton, Joel Embiid, who's technically born in another country, but I guess he has the U.S. citizenship. Drew Holiday, I didn't even know Drew Holiday was on the team. LeBron James, Jason Tatum, and then Kawhi Leonard. No Jaylen Brown? Interesting. But that's an amazing squad, right? That should not be beaten. But we don't have that much depth at big. Actually, never mind. We have Embiid. What am I saying? And we have Bam and Anthony Davis. I'd still be at Bam and Anthony Davis. We have Embiid. Wow. Kawhi Leonard was the last guy that was selected. And I don't think it's because he's the 12th best player. He was the 12th guy they had in mind. I think a lot of it was, is he going to be able to play? Would he want to play? Will he be healthy enough to play? And towards the end of the regular season, Kawhi Leonard accepted a jersey from Ty Lue, from Team USA. And, and my first reaction was, look, that'll be cool to see Kawhi in the Olympics, but the only way I'd be willing to see Kawhi play in the Olympics is if he ends the season with the Clippers healthy. And that's just absolutely not what happened. Kawhi Leonard, the Olympics is a privilege. The Olympics is an amazing chance to represent your country on a national scale. It sometimes is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for certain NBA players. And Kawhi Leonard probably is one of those guys. So it's a very tempting offer. He's already said yes, he wants to go. But obviously this was before the knee inflammation and the fact that he didn't really finish the playoffs with the Clippers. So that's a tough decision. There's been recent updates. And the reason why I'm making an episode on this topic is because there's been recent updates. Woj, a couple of days ago, said that Derek White is being looked at as a potential replacement for Kawhi Leonard. Now, I know people might be thinking, Derek White replacing Kawhi Leonard? But here's what I think, and here's what they're thinking. They see that they have enough guys that can create. They have enough guys that can score the ball. they're trying to put complementary pieces around them, because a lot of times what happens with these superstar USA teams is you put a lot of talent out there together. They have no clue how to play with each other. A lot of them are super used to being on the ball and don't know what to do without it. The physicality level in the international play goes up. There's no defensive 3-second violation. So it makes the spacing tougher. It makes every possession tougher. That's what tends to happen. Having a Derek White and a Drew Holiday to just do the little things, that's really important. And that's honestly something that, you don't see with the Dream Team or the Redeem Team. Although the Redeem Team, I think, had Tayshaun Prince on it. So he was there for those kinds of things. But the Dream Team, nothing but star-studded talent. 2012, I don't remember us putting anybody like that on the roster either. Although, was Andre Iguodala on that team? He might have been, but Andre Iguodala was known as a star back in 2012. It wasn't like he was the guy we saw with Golden State. So if Kawhi Leonard does play, it would just be cool to see him on a grand scale, but I would literally just be extremely nervous every single game about his health, about him potentially risking things. So, yeah, it's a decision he has to make. It's a decision that absolutely affects the Clippers massively because, I guess coming up, I'm going to be talking about how I feel about Kawhi Leonard going to the Olympics. I got to tell you a little something about Game Time. Game Time is the best place to get great deals on last-minute tickets, and it can be for any event. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Whether you're an Angels fan or a Dodger fan, Game Time can help you get great deals. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. Save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right. So back to talk about Kawhi Leonard and his quest to potentially play in the Olympics. Now, I'm going to make it very clear. There's absolutely no way in hell he should play in the Olympics. I do not care if he's wanted to play in the Olympics his whole life. It does not matter. The number one obligation right now for him needs to be to get the Clippers their first championship, which I don't know, quite frankly, after 5 years, how starving the 2-1-3 era is. And with Kawhi Leonard, you're never going to tell in terms of him saying things about it, about that quest. He is going to basically show you by doing. But there's absolutely zero chance in hell that I would want Kawhi Leonard to play in the Olympics. Why? Because he just could not finish a season for us and hasn't finished a season for us in 4 years. So you think we want him playing more basketball that's not related to the Clippers? That would be insane. I sound like a soccer fan right now, but I straight up don't want my player going to play for his national team. I don't. We'll be able to live without Kawhi, USA. It's not going to be a big deal. I get this, the angle from, anyone saying, well, it's a great opportunity for him. He might not ever get the chance. There's some Clipper fans that might never get the chance to see a ring. No, his obligation needs to be to the Clippers right now. There's a lot of players that will be chosen for the Olympic team or being in the running, and then they won't go because their obligation is to be healthy for their team. And that has to be the same case for Kawhi Leonard this time. He cannot go to the Olympics. He cannot. I'm begging him not to. And if he does, I don't really know what to think, because every game Kawhi Leonard plays at this point is jeopardizing his chances of getting hurt. That knee inflammation, there's still so much we don't really know about it. Law Murray, when he came on the show, he said it was wear and tear. He said it was the excessive use. Well, if that's the case, he shouldn't be playing more games. And to be honest, if I had to make a prediction right now, I don't think he will play more. I don't think he will go to the Olympics. Woj was talking about potential replacement with Derek White. Everybody knows that if they're talking about Derek White, there's something in the air, and if Woj is going and talking about it, there's something in the air that Kawhi Leonard might be pulling out of the competition. And we don't even know what Kawhi Leonard's status is right now. We've seen no updates. There's no timetable for his return with the knee inflammation. So we genuinely don't know. But the guy, I mean, when we talk about qualifications, Kawhi Leonard is overqualified to play for Team USA. He is amazing. There's no doubt about that. 23 points, 6 rebounds, 3.5 assists, whatever it was last season. But this is about the Clippers. And this is Locked On Clippers for a reason. And the number one priority has to be to get us healthy in the playoffs next year. If we're going to build around Kawhi Leonard, if we are all in with him, if we are running it back, yeah, his 24, 6, and 4, that's valuable for us. We don't need him to go over and risk injury in Paris playing more games. And let's say there's a hypothetical where he does go. He should be getting minimal minutes. I don't want to see him getting more than 20 minutes a game. I don't want to see him go. I don't want to see him practicing over there. I don't want to see him doing any basketball-related activity over there. We can win without him. There's no way, absolutely no way, that Kawhi Leonard should go to the Olympics. It's just, please. He'll be fine. Like, no, please don't tell me that. Please don't tell me that. There's no room for any of this anymore. The Clippers are going into a new stadium. We have one of the dimmest futures in the league right now, in terms of that we're all in, we're old, we don't have picks, so we're all in on Kawhi. There's the only thing that's preventing us from like having decent finishes in the playoffs is that our best player that we built our team around and invested so much into hasn't been healthy. And there's absolutely no way I want him going and playing Paris, playing more games. There's just no way. So that's my moral of the story. Kawhi Leonard, he cannot go. He cannot. I'm begging him not to. Because it's just not right to the fans, the Clipper fans, and the organization. We're relying on you. So that's my take. Coming up, though, the importance of Kawhi Leonard next season. I got to tell you a little something about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and here's how it works. All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 or more players' stat projections for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. With Prize Picks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. This week, you could go to the WNBA. You might be able to do some soccer stuff for Copa America or the Euro Cup. PrizePicks is the place to be. Just download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. That's download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right, so Kawhi Leonard, the way I want to talk about his importance to the Clippers is I'm going to read that Olympic roster, and I'm going to tell you every single player that I think he's better than on that roster. This is my way of trying to explain to people the importance of Kawhi Leonard next season. So there's no secret that Kawhi is the number one option on our team. He is the commander-in-chief. He is the guy that gives us any sort of shot to be in championship conversations. Without Kawhi Leonard, we would have zero chance to win a championship. We wouldn't even be in the championship discussion. The playoff version of Kawhi Leonard that we saw in 2019, that we saw in 2017, and that we saw in 2021 and those first 2 games of 2023, that's the guy that we as Clipper fans just sadly haven't had the pleasure of seeing enough since we've gotten him. And it's exactly what I dreamed of. That first moment we got him on July 5th, 2019, I first pictured Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs as a member of the Clippers in front of all of us and just being unstoppable. And that vision has not come to fruition. This season, we were able to get Kawhi Leonard finally playing in front of a sold-out Clipper playoff crowd, and he had no lift, he had no burst, he didn't look anything like himself on either end of the floor, and it really hurt us in that game too. But when Kawhi's healthy, we all know it's a different ball game. Now, the first player is Bam Adebayo. I'm a big Bam Adebayo fan. He's one of the most versatile defenders in the NBA, if not the most versatile. Can switch 1 through 5 for a big like no other, but he's nowhere near Kawhi Leonard's galaxy as a basketball player. So, next. Devin Booker. Wow, our good old friend Devin Booker. Not really. Kawhi Leonard is better than Devin Booker. He's a better defender. He's a more confident player. He gets easier baskets, and he performs better in the playoffs. Devin Booker's been more available lately, but when healthy, there's no brainer. And again, if you want to include injuries and stuff like that, then you can argue Kawhi Leonard is the worst player on this list because he's the least reliable of them all. But if right now, for the sake of this comparison, of talking about his importance, we're just talking about when he's healthy, of course. Steph Curry. Now, Steph Curry is one of those players that you can argue is better than Kawhi even when healthy. This past season, I think that I would rather have had Kawhi when healthy because of just his two-way play. Like Steph Curry, if Steph Curry is guarding the low man on your, against pick and rolls and rotating onto a big, he's not making any difference. If Kawhi Leonard is standing around the basket, rotating on the big, he can make a play on the ball. He can potentially get a block. So the two-way presence, whether it's on ball or off ball, is vastly in Kawhi Leonard's favor. Offensively, absolutely, Steph Curry is one of the all-time greats. Like he, Jokic, LeBron, Magic, some of the best names I can think of offensively, just off the top of my head, in NBA history. Steve Nash, really good as well. Kobe, the whole 9 yards. But I would honestly take Kawhi over Steph right now. I really would. Steph doesn't have the same burst anymore. He really struggled to close last season. And defensively, I don't think he's been I think he's declined since 2022. Then there's Anthony Davis. Now, Kawhi Leonard is better than Anthony Davis to me because he's more of an alpha number one player. He demands the ball more. He's a guy that is looking to drop, 25 to 30 a night. He's a proven number one option on a title team. As great as Anthony Davis was this season, and it was one of the best seasons of his entire career, I am going with Kawhi Leonard. I think Laker fans would probably push back on that due to health, but when healthy, I think it would be very hard for anyone to push back on Kawhi being better than Anthony Davis. Now, how about Anthony Edwards? Anthony Edwards is only on the rise. Kawhi Leonard is kind of on the decline. Ant-Man, when we played them, looked better than Kawhi this season, except for that game that we beat them by 1 point in Minnesota. I think you can argue that Ant-Man wasn't the best player on the floor. But he just took his team to the conference finals. Now, I think Kawhi Leonard, his offensive process is a lot better than Ant. He's just the fact that Kawhi is so comfortable in the mid-range and in the post, he makes his game, as much as he doesn't get easy baskets, when it comes to jump shots, he gets a lot easier jump shots than these other players do. He has a way of getting into his spots, and he's got spots. Ant-Man, to me, doesn't have any spots. When the rim was taken away from him against Dallas, he didn't really have much of a counter. And the sad part about the Ant-Man is he has a mid-range. But a lot of what he had to do was he was bringing the ball up a lot, playing with 10 eyes in front of him, behind the arc, three-point line. So that's not going to beat a great defense. And again, I stand by that the Dallas Mavericks were a very good defense. I wouldn't necessarily call them great, but they were very good. I would probably, that's an argument, Ant-Man and Kawhi right now. I really think so. But in the playoffs, if I had to say both of them are healthy, who are you taking in the playoffs this season? It's absolutely Kawhi. There's no better teacher than experience. And that's what Ant-Man's going through right now. He's learning the trials and tribulations of winning in the NBA and losing in the playoffs. Got into the conference finals for the second time in franchise history. Amazing achievement. Joel Embiid. Yeah, Joel Embiid's better than Kawhi in the regular season, but in the playoffs, it's not even a discussion. So, and he's always injured too. It's just that he's not as severely injured as Kawhi, so he ends up playing, but then he is not 100%, so you're wondering, could he play better than this? All that stuff. Tyrese Halliburton is just not better than Kawhi yet. No way. I love him, though. Drew Holiday, love the guy. One of my favorite players in the NBA. He's just kind of like an amazing role player, an all-star caliber player. He's not a star, a superstar. He's not a superstar. Let's put it that way. He's a borderline all-star. So, and not this season with his stats, but I'm just saying as a player, he's a borderline all-star. Kawhi over him. Tatum, our newest champion, Jason Tatum. I don't think there's any way that I can say that Tatum is. Actually, you know what? There is some ways we can say Tatum's better than Kawhi. I think Tatum's a better passer. I think he gets downhill more. But his efficiency or lack of it, decision-making, and then defensively, I think Tatum is really good. I really do. I think Kawhi's better on ball. But off ball, Tatum is really stepped up. And he's got so much size. So, like, with the fact that Tatum was guarding centers on the other teams and then switching 1 through 5, that was really impressive because it took away teams' pick and rolls advantages throughout the postseason. But I would still take Kawhi Leonard because of the experience, because of how easily he gets his buckets. You know, he's a true champion because of the way his game translates to the playoffs. Mid-range, post-ups. And, like, it's, again, Tatum is, I mentioned this in the last episode, Tatum is supposed to be the Kobe guy, not Kawhi. They both are, I guess. But Kawhi is the one that does things that would make Kobe more proud in terms of the where he catches the ball. Jason Tatum, he makes things very complicated at times, similar to Paul George. And then the last one, LeBron James. This is one you can go either way with, but I mean, if you watch the Lakers every single night like I do, LeBron James does not put even close to the defensive effort on a nightly basis of Kawhi. And I'll tell you what, Kawhi Leonard, you won't really be able to capture his impact on stats because he doesn't ball hog, he doesn't shot hunt, he doesn't have the ball in his hands a ton. He should shoot more, he should demand the ball more, and then defensively, he's always putting in a shift. He's not conserving his energy for offense like a lot of these other guys. And I know, granted, he's not guarding elite players because of that. But when he's on defense, he's engaged at all times. LeBron, that's not the case. There are some games that he shows up and just sits on the block for 40 minutes. Offensively, he still is fantastic, but I'm not going with 39-year-old LeBron over Kawhi in his prime. I'm just not. And you could say Kawhi's in the twilight of his prime. He's gotten injured. I'm still taking Kawhi. I know LeBron looked really good guarding him in the matchups against each other, but we had a better record for a reason. Kawhi Leonard finished second-team All-NBA for a reason. I'm going with Kawhi. So moral of the story, I legit think that Kawhi's probably the best American player. I think Steph Curry and Anthony Edwards have the best case to be better than him right now. But legitimately, that's how good Kawhi is. So if he's the best American player potentially, that tells you how important he is to the Clippers. That tells you how important he is to our quest in winning our first championship. There's nothing to play with this discussion. He should not be going to France. I don't care if he's always dreamt of being in the USA team or whatever. I've always dreamt of the Clippers winning a championship. So you're getting paid a very handsome salary by Ballmer and crew to win us a championship, and we have failed at that goal due to your health. I'm not saying it's your fault, but you know what? If Kawhi goes to the Olympics, then gets injured, or his knee gets more inflamed, like what does that look like for us? What does that sound like? What can we say after that? I don't even want to look forward to a discussion like that. He should not go. That's my opinion. You can say it's selfish. You call me selfish in the comments. I don't care. This is about the Clippers. I'm Locked On Clippers host, not Locked On Kawhi host or Locked On Team USA. But let me know what you think, guys. I think a lot of you will feel the same way as me, right? We'll just have to see. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more NBA content. I'm actually about to fly to Atlanta in a couple hours to go see Lionel Messi play in the first game of Copa America, so that should be amazing. That will be on my channel. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. I want you to let me know what you think of Kawhi Leonard and the Olympics. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clip Show.